Okay, nice to be back, and I'm going to try to finish, or at least finish the first draft of my Things Fall Apart essay today. I made a 25-minute video earlier in which I wrote the outline and the working thesis statement for this essay on Things Fall Apart. I have some books open. Of course, I've got the textbook, the Things Fall Apart. I'm going to take today, my goal today is to take what I've written so far and to turn it into at least 600 words so that I have a first draft of my essay. And you will remember from last time that I had written this outline and this thesis statement. Now, I've made a few changes since I made that last video, and I did three things actually. The three things I've done since the last video are, first of all, I made some slight changes to the outline. So the outline looked like that. What I did actually was, instead of it looking like this, I just broke up some of the sentences and turned them into maybe 5 points that can turn into paragraphs with some subpoints. I've just added a few words here. Essentially, I hit enter a lot and broke up some sentences into some smaller parts, but essentially it's the same thing that I wrote up there. I've just added a few returns and some subpoints, all of that. So I have this now, I have this outline that's about 5 groups of ideas that could turn into 5 paragraphs. What else have I done since that last time? I went into the textbook and I pulled out several possible quotations. So what I did is I was looking for evidence of my central idea, my working thesis statement, which is that in Things Fall Apart, Achebe is critical of colonialism. I added those few words. In Things Fall Apart, Achebe is critical of colonialism, but he shows that the arrival of the white man did not destroy Igbo culture. Culture, of course, is one of the IB concepts. Remember, here's the question that I have to answer. I have to analyze how Chinua Achebe explores any 2 of the following 7 concepts. I've chosen culture and transformation. So again, I'm going to keep coming back to emphasizing culture and transformation. So Achebe shows that the white man did not destroy Igbo culture. He, meaning Achebe, demonstrates that Igbo culture is resilient and was not destroyed by the arrival of the white colonialists. Instead, he shows how the Igbo culture transformed itself in response to the arrival of, I would probably say, the challenges posed by Christianity. Yeah, I think that's better. Challenges posed by Christianity and the white colonialists. Okay, so that's my thesis statement. There's my outline. So I went looking through the book, trying to find evidence in the text to back up that thesis statement. And I did, and I think in particular, this conversation between Obiorika and Okonkwo is really good, and I think it really helps. So, that's going to come in here for sure somewhere, probably in the 2nd or 3rd paragraph. So now let's just go ahead and write the essay and let's get started. So I can either start from this outline or from the original one. I might as well just start from this one. So I'm just going to copy and paste it because I don't want, I want to leave it the way it is there in case I want to come back to it at some point. So I'm just going to put it in here, and I can forget about all this. I'm going to get rid of this numbering system. Okay, so where am I? So my first paragraph, so now I'm on first of all, I have my introduction. Now, really, I usually save the introduction and the conclusion for last, okay? And I'm pretty happy with the introduction anyway, so I'll just leave it alone for now. So my first paragraph is going to be about Obiorika and Okonkwo. Okay, so what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that Obiorika is the character who demonstrates the resilience and adaptability that is required. Okay, good. That looks good. Okonkwo with his hypermasculine. Okay, so what am I really trying to say? I'm trying to say that, things fall apart. Yeah, let me just come right out and say it. Is a novel about men. The women in the novel, I don't even know if I need to say this, although important, are given secondary roles by Achebe. Okay? It is a story about the male leaders of their clan, how they will defend, let's just say, their clan. So let's just come back to, let's just change that. So I don't want to write clan twice, so I'm going to say Umuofia. It is a story about the male leaders of Umuofia, how they will defend their clan against the onslaught of the whites, and about, Igbo masculinity. All right, the two principal characters are Okonkwo and Obiorika. By the way, I'm going to try to finish this in 45 minutes, so I'm going to try to get it done by 17:10, okay? It's now 4:28. I'm going to try to finish by 5:10. So the two principal characters, I don't think there's any doubt that the two principal characters are Okonkwo and Obiorika. Okonkwo is the protagonist, and Obiorika, or I should say but, right? But Obiorika is the hero, okay? So what is that? Now I can just, Obiorika is the character who demonstrates the resilience and adaptability, the resilience, the manliness, and the adaptability. I'm going to call it manliness because I'm talking here about masculinity, that is required for Igbo culture to transform. I'm going to take this part about thrive out, to transform itself and withstand. Let's just call it an attack. I think one of the things I've kind of done wrong in my outline is I've been just a little bit too easy on British colonialism. That's never a good idea. Unless you're Neil Ferguson, but we'll talk about that some other day. It is an attack. There's no doubt that the whites are attacking. So let's just not shy away from that. Okonkwo, now I don't really need to say this on the other hand, but I'm going to put it in for now anyway. I have a feeling I'll take it out when I get over the word limit. With his hypermasculinity, does not have the attributes that are required to withstand the, okay, now I'm calling it right. Let's just say to resist the British, okay? Or resist the whites. I just called them British, so now I'm going to call them whites. His identity, his fear, and his aggressive violence. But, right, and his, and this is the point, right? His identity is fear, and the point I'm really trying to make is his misunderstanding of his own culture. And that's really what, and after I went back and read the book, and remember, here again, I'm coming back to that point, culture. make him incapable of adapting to the new situation. Okay, so that's a paragraph, right? And that is, now I'm just going to push on. I'm not going to make it great now. So it's about that. That's about right. That's about right for a paragraph length. Okay. Now, masculine identity. All right. So I'm already there. I've got a link here, right? And now I can come back to Achebe's conception, right? So that would be a good idea. Achebe's conception of Igbo masculinity is that it must be balanced, adaptable, loyal, fearless. I think fearless is important because remember, one thing that's clear, and especially, right, so these attributes or these characteristics or these traits, whatever I want to call them, traits, attributes, characteristics, those are all kind of, are represented by Obirika and Uchendu. That's Uchendu. All right. Now, I've got some nice quotes here. But how am I going to do this? Right. So where am I? So Achebe's conception of Igbo masculinity must be balanced. Right. Okay. So now I can bring in some quotes about Obirika. Most importantly, let me just bring this up. An Igbo man must be connected to his family and his culture. Great. Now, I've got all kinds of evidence that Obirika is and Okonkwo is not. Obirika is well loved by his family. And his daughter's wedding now is one of the most joyous occasions of the novel. Now, Okonkwo, however, beats his wives, mistreats his children. He practically kills Nwoye at one point. That's an important point. Disrespects his mother and hates his father. These are not masculine traits because what the heck was that? How did that happen? No idea. Who was that and how did that happen? I don't want to do that. What happened? I hope all that was saved. Well, that was weird. Yeah, okay. I guess I'm doing okay. Mistreats his children, disrespects his mother, and hates his father. These are not masculine traits. I'm going to change that spelling of masculine. I don't know why it's not correcting it. Because why don't I just say these are not masculine traits? Achebe sends several signals that a good man must understand the balance between male and female. Okay? Now I have some examples here. I'm going to have to bring some examples in, all right? I don't know if I need to include all this about he destroyed himself. Maybe I'll come back to that later, okay? So where am I? I'm kind of on a roll here, so I might as well keep going. All right, let me include the most, at this point, I do want to put this in here. Okonkwo is full of fear. So let me get that right page. It's right at the beginning of the book. And I'm going to try to find it in the book. I think I did quote it, but I think it might be in my notes somewhere, but it should be really easy to find. It's right at the end of chapter 1, I think. He's full of fear. Maybe it's the end of chapter 2. No, I can't find it. All right, so let me go back and find it. No, here it is. No, it's about his father. When they're talking about his father, they say he's full of fear. I know that Okonkwo Okonkwo ruled his household with a heavy hand. His wives, especially the youngest, lived in perpetual fear. Maybe I should just quote that whole thing and then come back to it later. So let me do it this way. Perpetual. I don't know how often. Yeah. Let me just quote all of that. I'm going to cut some of it out later, but let me just. Now let me just put this is more than 3 lines, so this is a block quote. So I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to put it into italics. And then I'm going to put the page number at the end here. And the page number is just 10. Okay? I think I've done that correctly. So, yeah, Red in Tooth and Claw, of course, is a quote from a famous poet. Which one is it? I can't remember off the top of my head. John Green mentioned that in one of his videos. Which poet is that? It's definitely a British poet. I think romantic. I can't remember which one it is. But anyway, English poet, English romantic. Which one? Was it? Anyway, I'll worry about that later. Okay, so that's a good quotation. And, you know, I might just, the main part I think I want here is his whole life was dominated by fear. But I'm going to leave it in there for now, right? Okay, so now I'm talking a bit about identity and masculinity. That's fine. I'm going to come back and... so what am I saying? Okonkwo beats his wives, mistreats his children, disrespects his mother, and hates his father. These are not masculine traits. Achebe sends several signals that a good man must understand the balance between male and, I should say, a good Igbo man, right? Because this is all about his culture. Yeah, I do want to say also that furthermore, Okonkwo disrespects the goddess and the oracle. Let's just say that for now. I can add some more evidence if I want. And and so now I want to say this. This is a new paragraph. Okay, so yeah, I might even I'm going to do my indentations and my paragraphing a little bit later. Right now, I'm just going to set the paragraphs apart by an extra line, but I will eventually fix that. Furthermore, Okonkwo, yeah. So one of the most interesting passages of the book is the conversation between, see, remember, I'm talking about Obiorika and Okonkwo here, right? Where Obiorika chides his friend for killing his stepson, Ikemefuna. This is chapter 8. And here, so now I'm going to go grab the quote that I've taken from the book, and here it is. Yeah. This is, I think, this is page 48. I'm going to just take this section. So let me come down here and put this in. And it is an argument between friends. And I'm going to leave it implied for now, but this argument is about, in my opinion, the central sort of point of the novel. What does it mean to be a man? And it is an argument between friends. And Okonkwo challenges Obiorika. Let's just put it like that. By claiming that he killed Ikemefuna by order of the oracle. Okay, so I want to make it clear here. Like here, I'm writing, and I want to make it clear who's the first person who's talking. So this is Okonkwo. So I'm just going to leave out. And let me just say, Okonkwo defends himself. Defends his actions. Okay. You sound as if you question the authority and the decision of the oracle, who said he should die. I do not. Why should I? But the oracle did not ask me to carry out his decision. But someone had to do it. If we were all afraid of blood, it would not be done. And what do you think the oracle would do then? You know very well, Okonkwo, that I am not afraid of blood, and if anyone tells you I am, he is telling a lie. And let me tell you one thing, my friend. If I were you, I would have stayed at home. What you have done will not please the earth. It is the kind of action for which the goddess wipes out whole families. So that's exactly this statement from so what I can do is I don't need all these lines. This is good. This statement right here is what I'm after. And this is backing up what I'm saying. It's also foreshadowing the end of Okonkwo's family. One of the most interesting passages of the book is the conversation between Obiorika and Okonkwo, where Obiorika tried for killing his stepson Ikemefuna. It is an argument between friends. so I'm just going to say here, Okonkwo defends his actions as required by the oracle and suggests that Obiorika is afraid of blood. Obiorika reacts strongly. Okay, so that's a better connection now between what I'm saying and the quotation. All right, so you know very well, Okonkwo, that I am not afraid of blood. And if anyone tells you that I am, he is telling a lie. And let me tell you one thing, my friend. If I were you, I would have stayed at home. What you have done will not please the earth. It is a kind of action for which the goddess wipes out whole families. Okay, so what's interesting here is Obiorika gives some foreshadowing of the end of the book, of the story, and clearly points to the earth and the goddess. Okonkwo is out of touch. He does not respect the earth and the goddess because his fear and hypermasculinity are leading him into what do we want to call them? His fear and his hypermasculinity are leading him into his fear, violence, and leading him into actions that will bring terrible consequences, right? Okay, good. So now, I think here, instead of this whole passage, because I'm running out of words here. You know, my word limit is only 800, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change. I'm not going to make this italicized. I'm going to make this quoted, and I've already added all this bit about he beats his wives, he mistreats his children. So I don't need the text to back that up. So I'm going to take all that out, and then I'm just going to Okay, good. So I kind of like this now. I'm not quite sure where that period goes before the quotation mark or afterwards, or even the page number, but I can fix that later. Okay, so now I've got, Okonkwo gives some foreshadowing of Obiorika gives some foreshadowing of, just say foreshadows, not give some foreshadowing. That's a good way to knock two words off my word count. Obiorika foreshadows the end of the story and clearly points to the earth and the goddess. Okonkwo is out of touch. He does not respect the earth and the goddess. So I don't even need that earth and the goddess twice. Okonkwo is out of touch with his culture. So here I am bringing in culture again, right? Which is important because that's what I'm getting marked on. Have I explored this concept of culture? He does not respect the earth and the goddess because his fear, aggressive violence, and hypermasculinity are leading him into actions that will bring terrible consequences. I don't need to say because, I can say and. Or I could just break it into two sentences. which is better because it's always more clear. His fear, aggressive are leading him into actions. Okay, that's great. So now I'm pretty, I don't know whether I need to, yeah, maybe I'll include this line actually. Yeah, why don't I just, I'm going to save that for later. I don't know what I'm going to do with this line later, so I'm just going to, I don't know, highlight it or strike through or something, because I'm not sure really what I'm doing with this line or whether I even want it in there. It's sort of another idea. I want to point out that Okonkwo destroyed himself, but, I don't think, I don't really need that, but anyway, yeah, so there it is. Okay, so I've kind of, this is actually a good point too. He does not know how to be a man. As a matter of fact, why don't I just do that? Okay, I'm kind of on a roll here. I want to finish by 5:10, so I have like 18 minutes left. You don't have to actually stick to the outline. And if you feel like you've got a flow going, you might as well go with it. This is important. So let's see what I've got coming. Okay, this is culture and system, right. So I've put all this. Okay, so now culture and system. Let's just do it. So Umofia and the Igbos have a system and a resilient culture that that can absorb any challenge. Yes, that's what I want to say. And that knows how to deal, or I don't want to say absorb, that can, what's the word I want there? What I want is transform, that can, I want to call attention to transformation. The Umofia and the Igbos have a system and a resilient culture that can transform any challenge. I might as well just use the word that they're assessing me on. Why don't I say this? Whether internal or external. Internally, Achebe shows many cases, such as, I can come back and get this, the woman who left her husband, I can't remember her name right now, and the Egugu deal with it appropriately. They also with Okonkwo, who has violated their laws. So now I'm getting off the outline, but that's okay. I want to be on culture and system here. That's what I'm trying to say. The culture also knows how the Igbo culture, or the Umofia clan is what I should really say. The Umofia clan, or I should say Igbo culture, as represented by the Umofia clan, also knows how to deal with Okonkwo. After his crime of what's that called? Criminal negligence. Of just say killing. And what's the name of that young man again? It's one time when the gun goes off, or it's a 16-year-old. So it's definitely going to be gun. And it's I'm not sure it's the, there's where he almost kills his wife. But he got away with that. Yeah. And then it's going to come here. Yeah, Ezedu, his son, right? So guns were firing all over the place, not a good idea. And the air was full of dust and gunpowder. And Okonkwo's gun had exploded and pierced the 16-year-old boy's heart, right? And they don't give him a name, but it's Ezedu, how do I say his name again? Ezeudu's son, okay? So that's what I'm trying to say there. Killing Ezeudu's 16-year-old son. Okay? Okay, now I can just try the... But he could not overcome his pride. I'm actually going to change it to fear. Let's just say his misguided machismo. And he could not accept that he needed to go to his mother's village and accept his feminine side. Let me just really do that to Okonkwo. He deserves it. So he could not accept, but he could never overcome his misguided machismo. Right, his misguided machismo. When he was told to go to his mother's village and accept his feminine side. So now I'm on to the Uchwendu, and so let me see what I've got here now. I may be in a bit of trouble with my word count. Okay, no, maybe not. I'm at 598, okay, and I wanted to get to more than 600 by 7. Okay, good. So, let me just try this. Now I'm kind of skipping. At Mbanta, why don't I just finish that off? Achebe lets us know again that Okonkwo's toxic masculinity is not aligned with Igbo culture. when he learns that Nwoye has embraced the Christians, Okonkwo grabs him by the neck, beats him savagely, and almost kills him. It is only Uncle Uchendu, alerted by the screams of women, who intervenes to save the boy's life. And shouts at Okonkwo, "Are you mad?" So that's one of the quotes that I have from up here. What page is that? Are you mad? Page 111. Okay. All right, let me just finish off here. The last pages of the book have not only has Okonkwo rejected his culture, but his culture has rejected him. His last conversation with Obiorika does not go well. Obiorika is willing to let, so that's at the gathering, that would be the word, a large gathering, I think. So let me go back to the book and go to the last pages, go to the end. I think that the word was, it was definitely that grain of sand bit. A grain of sand couldn't hit the floor. It was so crowded. Let me go to that. They do that once or twice. Yeah, here it is. Here's the last thing. This is the last conversation between Obiorika and Okonkwo. So what is it called? Is it a gathering at the meeting place? What was it called? Let me just see. They were told to come to they were called to the marketplace for a gathering of the men of the village, right? An assembly, I guess you could say, right? So they're called to the marketplace for the assembly of the village men. The last pages of the book inform us that not only does Okonkwo reject his culture, but his culture has rejected him. The final, I don't want to say last, the final conversation between Obiorika and Okonkwo does not go well. Obiorika, so I want to say they have been called to the marketplace with all for a gathering for what is that word again? For an assembly, let's call it, of the tribesmen to decide how to respond to the white man's aggressions. Obiorika is willing to let the assembly take place and is cordially greeting his friends. But Okonkwo is seething with anger. Let me just see it like that. Okay. He has turned his back on his culture. He cannot accept its transformation. He is a lone wolf. And now I'm going to come here and go back up to my quotes again. And where was it? It was sort of at the end. Yes. When Obiorika asks if he is afraid, what is that guy's name? Ogokwani or something? I can't remember. Let me find it. It's right here. Egonwani. That Egonwani will convince the crowd not to fight. Okonkwo responds, afraid? I do not care what he does to you. I shall fight alone if I choose. The people of Umuofia refused to touch his body. Umuofia has been transformed. Perhaps, I'm going to take that out. Umuofia has been transformed. But Okonkwo cannot stand the transformation. His culture has changed, and the toxic masculinity, fear-based, let me put this sentence here. The people refused to touch his body, right? Igbo culture has been transformed. And the toxic masculinity, fear-based arrogance, and aggressive violence are being removed from the culture. take that out. And I'm going to write represented by Okonkwo. So represented by Okonkwo. Are being removed from the culture. Okay. So I end up by bringing it back to my main points about culture and transformation. Now, you know, I'm not done. It's 17:12, so I went a couple minutes over. But what do I have here? I now have there it is. There's where the essay starts. Okay, so I now have how many words? 856, so I have to cut it down a little bit. That's okay. I could do that. I have a rough draft, and now I feel much stronger and much happier than I did yesterday morning when I was just sort of clueless and I didn't know what to do. I started by, as you saw, working with a thesis statement and then drawing an outline, and now I've just thrown together this first draft. This is just a first draft. There's still 2 weeks left before my essay is due, so now I have to go back, reread it, edit it, and rewrite parts of it, get it down to 799 words, and hopefully I can make it better. It's really important. There goes 2 of those words right now. As required by the Oracle is what I wanted to say. There are all kinds of mistakes in it. Fine. But that's okay. Oh, I need the page number there as well. What page number was that? Anyway, that's enough for tonight. I've got something to work with. I've got a couple of weeks left before I need to turn it in. You know, it might change significantly between now and then, but at least now I feel much more relaxed, because if I'm desperate and I get even to this place, you know, all I have to do is take 56 words out of this. I can just cut out, you know, a short paragraph, and I've got myself something to turn in. And, you know, I haven't gone through the assessment criteria yet. I'm not quite, you know, I have to edit it. I have to get the language right. I have to get my indentation right and my quotation marks and all of that right. Yeah, that's all important work for getting marks, but at least I've got something to work with now. And if I get nothing done over the next 11 or 12 days, at least at the end, I'll be able to submit something by the deadline, and it won't be half bad. Okay, it's 5:15. I wanted to finish in 45 minutes. It's taken me 50 minutes. So have a nice evening. I'll finish part 3 sometime later.